où on va assister à la conférence de presse du ministre des Antiquités et du Tourisme, Khaled Al-Amel.
Dear ambassadors, distinguished guests, my colleagues at the Supreme Council of Antiquities, media who they came from all over the world and also from Egypt, our Egyptian press and foreigners, it's going to be a day that I believe that you will never ever gonna forget. In few minutes, His Excellency the Minister of Antiquities or the Tourism and Antiquities will announce the biggest discovery in 2020. Our program will be like this today. We're gonna watch a movie, 3 minutes, and then His Excellency Dr. Khalid, he's gonna welcome you and he's gonna announce the discovery of today. Then for the first time, we are not gonna only open a coffin in front of you, but at the same time, we're gonna scan it. We're gonna X-ray the mummy which is inside this coffin. Then later on, I'm gonna tell you some secrets about the discovery of today. We are very happy that this mission is Egyptian mission, who started working for almost 3 years, and results, we're gonna talk about it in few minutes. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna watch together a movie for 3 minutes. السادة والسادة هنستمتع بمشاهدة فيلم لمدة 3 دقائق. تفضل. We are here in Saqqara. We talk about 4,500 years old. It's one of the most famous cemeteries in Egypt. Here we talk about civilization. When you ask about history, it means Egypt.
Ready, steady, go, yeah. What a great discovery.
To take it for all the world to see.
It's the moment. Wow. I'm very happy, guys. That's what we were expecting. The coffin was well sealed, no chemical reaction, no air inside, nothing. That's why it's all in perfect condition of preservation. Wow, 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 wow. It's not something really very common to find. Every day, you guys are asking, how many coffins did we find? The answer is, I don't know yet.
When I dig every second, I find something.
This one of the masterpieces that we have found. I feel very proud. Egyptian workers, Egyptian archaeologists, Egyptian conservators, pure Egyptian mission.
What a beautiful find.
What we found in the last 3 years in this area not represents 8% of what we are going to find.
Oh, congratulations, sir.
Wait, and you will see such a lovely surprise. Me and my team, we have such a big feeling about what we are doing. It's not finished yet. This is the beginning.
معالي السيد المحافظ اللواء أحمد راشد
Your Excellency, Mr. Governor Mohammed Rashid, and His Excellency,
دول العالم زميلاتي
ambassadors of the whole world, my colleagues in the Higher Council of the Antiquities, the governors, as well as the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, ladies and gentlemen, technicians,
الإعلام
media personnel.
اللي نفس الكاميرا توري الإعلام.
I hope the camera will show the media, not only the mics, that we are from Saqqara. It's the third year to be here announcing antiquity discoveries. I'll try to respond some questions that we asked before. It's not just going to be in a traditional or a classic briefing. Why Saqqara and what it is Saqqara, and to try to understand it, Saqqara is one of
كان في أول عاصمة لمصر كلها من 5000 سنة اسمها منف كان ليها جبانة على الغرب منها. أحد أهم أجزاء
This is one of the most important reasons.
منطقة سقارة هي منطقة كبيرة جدا.
Saqqara is
وجبانة منف بتمتد من أبو رواش شمالا يعني بعد المتحف الكبير كمان إلى دهشور جنوبا. سقارة كان بيدفن فيها الملوك من العصر العتيق يعني من بداية الأسرات. فيها حوالي 13 هرم جوه منطقة سقارة، ولكن المواطنين وكبار الموظفين والكهنة كمان كانوا بيدفنوا فيها من بداية الأسرات مرورا بكل التاريخ المصري القديم، العصر الفرعوني واليوناني والروماني، وفيها أديرة أثرية كمان، وفيها جبانة حيوانات الأكبر السرابيوم، هو أكبر مكان لدفن العجل أبيس العجل المقدس.
to bury the feast. People don't understand why come here every time now and then. Saqqara is only never discovered, is only 1% of it. With respect to the figures, if we work to Saqqara, we expect to find human and animal tombs for any era. It's in a very enriched area that contains sites recorded in the world map in the UNESCO. Try to just to clarify things, and people do not understand why it's only Saqqara. So some other discoveries in El Giza, and we've only found, or we also found discoveries in El Giza. Saqqara is not that important as El Giza area. The discovery made here, no, made in the same spot with a stand announcing the holy beast and the 59 tombs on the 3rd of October. We came here today because of distancing, social distancing, and as well as once we found that we have 200 and plus of media personnel, we've made the tent before the icon of the Saqqara is the one of the pyramids. It is one of the small spots at Saqqara. It is the first stair pyramid in the whole world. It is the only answer or response of the questions why in Saqqara. The discovery, it is the same site. We've announced on the 3rd of October. As I said, it was only the beginning of the discovery, and today it is unfortunately it's not just the end of the discovery. No, it is the continuation of the discovery. It is the shaft honored by His Excellency Mr. Premier visited the same spot on the 3rd of October. Once we discovered it, started to dig out more than 100 tomb other than the 59s, and the work is not done yet. We came in, we worked, we continued. So why do you announce it before? So it was better to wait for 2 months or 3 and announce it for 300 or something, because we needed to empty it, the shaft, as we find at the end of the shaft, to find parts. So we had to stop it until we end it. The nature of the discovery of today is more than 100 tomb as closed of the Batlamite era, more than 40 monuments of the burial mask of gold. But I had not to direct the camera for the 2 monuments and statues were dug of 3 shafts of the same area we've announced before in the holy spot. Where it go? If we look at the left side, you find the major Muftah, responsible of the Grand Museum and the Civilization Museums. As you knew the answers, their directions to be divided between the Grand Museum and the National Museum of the Egyptian Civilization and the Egyptian Museums at Al-Tahrir. It is the minimum treat for the 108th anniversary of the museum. So you are only the first one to pick the first one because of the Egyptian Museum of Al-Tahrir anniversary that will succeed to continue to compete all the museums throughout the Republic. So on Tuesdays we had small exhibitions to celebrate the anniversary of establishing the Egyptian Museum in Al-Tahrir about tombs on the 16th, as well as another museum, the 4th one in the new administrative city. It will be a surprise, God willing, will be the first official inaugurations in the city of art and culture in the new city. Why we never announced on such discovery before that, and why other discoveries lately? What happened? Why do we have discovery each month? One, it is thanks to the Almighty God. It's a great one exceptionally. Secondly, we gave the chance for the Egyptians to work. We're proud that we have partners throughout the world, throughout tens of years we used to work with, but I've honored to get the post in the ministry the last year. I found that great generations being invested, trained, educated, great people such as Zahi Hawass benefited or sent others for training others, holding master's degrees and PhD, willing to work, and those who dug, and all the discoveries, or rather than more than 95% of the whole discoveries we've announced before. Thanks for them all. Tombs, the same one in you. Just some would say there would be the same we've announced before, and you probably going to ask the same questions next month. Yes, the idea or the point is we cannot do it later on. People used to do this, showing masks, tombs, and if they're all waiting that each time will just go a bit higher than the level. The discoveries of 22, unfortunately, is not going to do, because last Thursday Dr. Zahi Hawass Fundi, by saying I found
ولكنه محتاج بضعة أسابيع
some discoveries, but require more or a few weeks to be announced.
قد نلحق
We may
ما كانش هيكون في بداية عام
catch December of this year. If it is not so, it's going to be in the earlier of 2021. I'd like to thank once again all the partners. And because of the COVID-19, you probably are very hunger to be informed and briefed. And I'd like also to thank the National Bank of Egypt, as well as the technicians and all the guardians of these very very important archaeology, and of course the Ministry of Antiquities offers their unprecedented support. I'm not talking about how much we spent on the Grand Museum. Just want to say that we've only opened in one day 3 museums of its monuments. It's only Egypt which could do this. God willing, 2020 never finished before inauguration, the Central Hall of Mummies in the National Museum of Culture and Civilization. Sorry for taking too long. Wanted just to clarify the big questions of why it is Saqqara.
I'm very proud to be with you today to announce another new discovery, a big one, from the same area in Saqqara, one of the main parts of the Memphis necropolis, one of our UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We announced here a discovery of 39 sealed and intact colored coffins from the late period of the Ptolemaic era. Today, we are announcing the discovery of more than 100 sealed, colored, intact human coffins, all coming from the area called the Bastion, only hundreds of meters away from here, and more than 40 funerary masks and the statues and the canopic jars and this wonderful wooden private statue. All of this work that you see is the result of the work and the excavation of my colleagues working with the Supreme Council of Antiquities. I was answering a question that was asked from my friends and family during the last weeks. Why do we have recently too many discoveries? Are these coffins, they were hidden before and they were trying to promote your country by showing every now and then some of them? No. They are all new discoveries. And the previous one, of the 3rd of October, was moved to the Grand Egyptian Museum, and today we are announcing 100 sealed coffins, or more than 100 sealed coffins. We were very lucky during the last 3 years, and also because we have a generation of Egyptian archaeologists and workers who love their country, they are passionate, they love their heritage, they are working day and night, and the COVID-19 did not stop them, and they are impressing the world every month, nearly. I'm very proud of the result. The mission did not finish yet. It's not the beginning, but we're in the midway. So maybe we'll be addressing a new invitation very soon to announce a new discovery in Saqqara. This one was supposed to be the last one of 2020, but I received a call from Dr. Hawass last Thursday. Told me, I'm very sorry to tell you, it will not be the last one in 2020 because I made another discovery today in Saqqara. But he will need some weeks to reveal his new discovery, maybe end of 2020 or early 2021. We have a huge support from our president and our government, and the proof that what happened only 2 weeks ago, it's an unparalleled event. Our president opened in the same moment 3 museums in Sharm el-Sheikh, in Kafr el-Sheikh, and in Cairo. I say it's an unparalleled event because I'm not sure that many countries in the world can open in the same moment 3 museums with their own antiquity. And this is the force and the privilege of Egypt with its rich and diversified heritage and culture. This year we will be organizing a huge event, the Mummies Parade, which will be moving from 22 mummies, will be moving from Cairo Museum to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. It will be a wonderful and unforgettable event. All this collection will be moving very soon to the Grand Egyptian Museum, to the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, to the Cairo Museum in Tahrir, which will celebrate tomorrow 118 years, and we'll be organizing a small temporary exhibition next Tuesday evening about the Coffins to celebrate the anniversary of the prestigious museum in Tahrir. And the last part of the collection will go to the new Capital Museum, which will open its doors within 5 or 6 weeks maximum. Thank you for being with us, and thanks to Waziri and his team. You are impressing the world, and I'm very proud to work with you. Thank you.
الغائب اللي بيدي فرصة
Whoever given the chance for all the workers all workers of the High or the Supreme Council of Antiquities. The story is not an old one. Go briefly. I was actually General Director of the Antiquities of Al-Aqsa. I've already met with the Minister at the end of 2016 by saying, do you have money for the digging? If you give me money, I would have discovered Trump in 3 months, never hesitated for a minute, and wasn't actually acquainted with me as much as good. But thanks to the Almighty God, give me money. In January 2017, that was the first discovery after the events of 2011. At a tomb named Asarhat of 1400 statues and the rest of discoveries of mummies. I've already felt the benefits of the leader who support their men. I used to be a chief of some of the Egyptian missions were able to impress the rest of the world throughout the work they've done. All the thanks for the rest of citizens and workers of the High Council of Antiquities throughout the Republic, who managed once again to impress the world by the restorations work that never had, or that was unprecedented for some other people rather than the very distinguished group of the Egyptians. His Excellency, Mr. Minister, said very important information. So why we're talking about this place? It was around of height of 9 meters, although than 40 foreign missions crossed through that place, but thanks to the Almighty God of great effort and patience and determination, we've managed to do discoveries in a very short time. Antiquities being stored were put in our museums in Egypt, that they are present, we've finished establishing or being opened or about to be inaugurated. We've already announced the 3 shafts of depths of 12 meters of 59 tombs, and the minister said that more than 100 tombs rather than the 57 in 3 shafts of depths of 12 meters. The beautiful, he said that the discovery never ended or never finished, and the land of Saqqara never revealed what's inside it by saying the secret was the story. The mystery being separated by a wall, and the right side was only allocated for the animals and commuters. Before 250,000 years, a worker used to work in a workshop made by 300 mummies of a cat. To be simplified, whoever is wandering around by finding someone who is selling flowers, give him the flower and give it to the cemetery. That's what happened to before. They used to buy the cat to be offered for those at the funeral. The surprise that was there is a workshop to make wooden tombs for the mummies. Others never been discovered yet, and God willing will be another discovery in 2021. My colleagues are all working on it. There would be a discovery for the workshop of the same story of the animal mummies. So someone would pick up a tomb by asking the money, and if we remember on the event of the 59 discovery, wasn't in that place, but here it was different. It was 2 levels. Here is the less charge, but all the tombs made of wood that manufactured here. It was local, and it was only discovered in a tomb named as Benin's. And this guy used to be a judge in the 6th family. We're talking about more than 3,000 to 4,000 years. It is the same place, the old one of the 6th family. We made diggings, and we found shafts that is very wells, very beautiful of dips, discovered by these beautiful statues by Hutubakar, used to wear the glorified before the king. Could be the son of the prince of the 6th family, and the wood made by the local people. And if you look at this statue, we found the eyebrows. That is one of the best discoveries on the one of the rooms in the Jewish tomb. We have more than 100 tombs as announced by His Excellency Mr. Minister, and we have media came throughout the world, and even local media personnel, as well as the artists. We've had enough of one sample of the present tomb. We never thought that the biggest surprise we promised Mr. Minister, we will find the workshop of the tombs made by the ancient Egyptians, and he used to sell of such a price. This was made by wood and the other was made by gold. And the beautiful surprise, in addition, actually Saqqara never finished throughout the history of the Median families and the country of some of the antiquities areas that would interpret that the work at Saqqara never stopped throughout the ancient civilizations till now.
Dear distinguished guests, I'm very proud once again that this discovery done by Egyptian hands is not the last discovery. What's up? What's the story? The story is this Bubastium. We can find mud brick wall right in front of our cemetery there. If you're going to stop there to your right hand side, you will find that this place was dedicated for mummified animals, cats, crocodiles, snakes, falcons, and stuff like this. So, ancient time, we used to find, like what we call it, workshop for mummified animals, like the cemeteries in your countries. Whenever you want to pay a visit to the cemetery, you stop by a flower shop to buy a bunch of flower, and you put it in front of your cemetery or the cemetery of your relative or whatever. Exactly the same story. The guys in ancient time, they stop by the workshop for mummified animals. He buy a cat, a mummified crocodile, snake, whatever, and then he's going to offer it to the goddess Bastet. Then, to your left-hand side of the cemetery, we have another kind of workshop. We did not find the workshop of the wooden coffins till now, but we're going to find it soon. So we used to have a workshop for wooden coffins. So the guys in ancient time, they stopped there and start looking at this coffin and said, I like to have this one. How much is this one? So they used to buy it and then offer it for their own mummies, their own bodies, their own aunts, whatever. What's the most important thing here in Saqqara? That did not stop the adoration. In Saqqara, they kept on and on and on during the ancient Egyptian history, passing by the late period, Greek or Ptolemaic, Greek, Roman, and till the Christian convents. Why we found all this kind of stuff? Although that we used to have more than 40 foreign missions used to pass by this necropolis. The point is that we found the debris of almost 9 meters high. So we kept working very hard to achieve our target by taking all this debris out, and then luckily that we found another 3 big shafts, almost 12 meters depth. I'm not talking about what we did announce October 3rd, the first 3 ones with 59 coffins. No, now we can talk about more than 100 coffins. But I can see that the level or the standard or the people who are buried here, they are a little bit rich than the other ones. Yes. Because those guys, because they were rich, they were elite, high-ranked people, so that's why they could buy coffins gilded. They could afford it. So we have another shaft full of coffins, well gilded, well painted, well decorated. بتاع سكر, bunch of statues. Luckily, that if you're going to stop by Sharm el-Sheikh Museum, you can find the Egyptian discoveries, the Egyptian mission, who discovered a bunch of those mummified animals, statues, and so on. How about the other museums? Luckily that all of our excavations, his decision, Dr. Khalid Anani, not to keep it in our storehouse. No, it should be displayed in the museums. We opened a couple of museums, but we still have other museums to be opened very soon. Can I ask you kindly, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stay as we are, because it's the moment that all of us who are waiting. We're going to start with the Egyptian team, radiologists, conservators. I'm very happy that all of them are Egyptians. It's time, but before we open the coffin, we're going to scan it, X-ray, and it will be on this screen. So if you don't mind, stay as you are. لو سمحتم السادة الحضور هنعمل سكان، هنعمل X-ray للموميا والكل قاعد في مكانه بعد إذن حضراتكم.
So we'll scan the mummy and everyone will be in his or her places. I would just ask the biggest favor from His Excellency Mr. Minister,
متحسن شوية.
because this one would be in a very harsh one.
هل في كده بالنسبة للشاشة بالنسبة لي الآن
Just to let for the media, for the sake of the media personnel, to see, move the
طيب ممكن نعمل التجربة؟
camera to the spot to do the experience. Excuse us for doing something just to give, say, in a bit of information. There will be in a documentary film to be shown. On the process. Peace be upon you. We are going to use the X-ray, and it's going to be acquainted of three main points. The first one, if it was a mummy, for is it masculine or feminine, and then we'll determine the age. And the third point, and to know the way they mummified the coffin, and if anything happened before the death or after the death. and then we'll try to give a biggish picture.
Understand whether this mummy is for male or female, estimation of the age, as well as the state of art of the mummification of this mummy. Later on, after the further investigation and partition, you can understand the type of
Can I say something? I love it. In fact, it's very beautiful face. I don't know how to explain it. Cartoonage, in perfect condition of preservation. The goddess nude, hand sign, lovely decorations almost everywhere. جد هنا عمود الجد والإلهة نود. ومنظر جميل جدا ما يسمى بمفتاح الحياه او علامه الحياه. شكل جميل رائع للحورس.
The biggest shape of horse, unprecedented representation for the toes, and it was very clear that Israel, the man who did such a thing, it was very distinguished person, never paid only attention, but they paid the tiny details. Yes, beautiful. Sorry for taking too long, but I just admired the work of the mummification.
Can you look at the screen? Step by step we scanning now the head, as you can see, the eyes, the nose, the teeth. بصوا اللحظه دي بس لو ركزنا فيها هتبقى مهمه جدا. اللحظه دي مهمه. بيعمل ايه بقى الدكتور باسم هنا والفريق؟ بيعمل سكان للجنب كده. دي اللي هيبقى فيها حاجه مهمه عشان نسمع المفاجاه.
You can see, can you please look at the screen? It's in a very important moment. During the process of mummification, the brain was working. But here it is in a very different. It broke this spot to fill it in the brain. So they made this brain, as you can see.
It was not a hole on the backside of the bone like like the one that Tutankhamun. Then they broke the bone, they evacuate the brain, and then they dig it with the river. As we can see, the accumulation of the on the occipital bone of the right side of the skull. Maximum thickness would be around 8 centimeters of the region inside the brain. So in this case also we could understand most probably from the skull that this skull is for male. We could see from the galabella of the frontal bone of the head as well as the hip of the bone of the one more proof that the brain was removed from the nose, that both the two vertebrae of the atlas and the axis of the upper part of the vertebral column are still articulated and not broken. In case of this was broken, we would have that proof that the brain was moved, the head was moved, but then the broken nose is a proof of what Dr. Mustafa has been explaining on boring the region while the mummy was laid down on the bed. One more thing is that from the teeth, we can understand that he is an adult. So we have the 3 molar on the mandibula and on the axis, on the maxilla and on the mandibula are complete, and the weaving of these teeth are not very well. So what we can have is an adult, most probably an adult male. We will be sure as soon as we came to the part of the pelvis, so that we can understand if he is proved to be male or female.
اللي قاله الدكتور باسم برضه كده في موجهنا اتعمل اكس راي.
Committed an X-ray on the skull. The teeth were full. Thank God that there was no broken teeth. There was no sign for any accident. The resident is settled at the end of the skull. And now we scanned the chest area, going lower.
As well as the proximal end of the femur of the leg. The measurement, as you can see on the scale in the photo, is more than 45 millimeters, which is greater than that used to be in the female.
المنطقة واضح تماما انه راجل. الاسكان اللي اتعمل على منطقة العضل راجل. معرفش بقى هنا ده السن ولا لسه؟ I don't know if you have noticed that the position of the mummy. It's not really straight like hands like that. No, it's crossing arms. الايدين شايفين الايدين؟ واخدين الوضع الأوزيري. واخدين الوضع الأوزيري. عادة بيبقى الوضع ده غالبا لوضع ملكي، بس هو طبعا مش ملك. ده مش ملك، بس واضح ان الراجل ذو شأن كبير. The position of his arms, it's not straight above his legs or thighs. No, it's crossing arms like this. Normally, this is what we call it Osiris position, and it should be only for kings in fact, but he is not king, or he was not a king, but he was really very rich people, rich man.
من خلال انا اول توبيك عربي بالانجلش من خلال السن زي ما احنا قلنا في الاسنان اكتمال الثلاث ضروس اللي موجودين مكتملين البروز.
You mentioned about the teeth, and of course the place at the bones shows the size. It shows that he was for more than 27 to 28 years old, and the teeth shows that it's more than 30 years. And then we'll scan the last part, and then we'll combine them all together.
As we said before, the three mandibles, the three molars that are present in the mandible and the axis are giving us an estimated age over 30, as well as the complete fusion and epicycles of the clavicle bone with the sternum, giving us an estimation of bigger and bigger age. So we are going to scan the feet, and then we will combine all the photos together in order to have an overview for all the mummies. So a combination of the radiographs would allow us to understand the whole story of this mummy. The mummy is very well mummified. From the lateral view, the one to the right side, you can see accumulation of the resin all over the body, which means that the resin was poured and all over the mummy while it was sleeping like this, in this position, so that all the resin were accumulating from the occipital bone of the head until the lateral part. As we said, the sutures of the bone on the skull are still visible, which means that he is less than 57 years old. So most probably the estimate age between 40 and 45 years old at this. The pelvis is for male, the femur, the measurements of the femur, as well as the humerus, the tibia, all the low bones could give us an estimation for the length of this individual during his life, which would be 160 to 164 centimeters while he was alive. All the internal organs were removed except the heart. We could see shadow on the left-hand side through a surgical opening that is on the left-hand side. The brain was evacuated through the ischemic bone of the nose. The mummy is in a very good condition. The only comment that we could see is the lumbar bones are a bit twisted. It's moved. Until now, we cannot say that if it was before this or after this it was a disease. It needs more investigation. I would say it in Arabic. من خلال دراسة الموميا بالكامل هنلاقي ان الصورة المقطع الجانبي هنلاقي ان الراتنج بالكامل موجود في الجزء الخلفي من اول الجزء الخلفي للجمجمه لغايه المقطع اللي احنا شفناه، وده بيدل ان عمليه التحنيط وصب الرافين تم ومن خلال الموميا كانت نايمه بالوضعيه دي. المخ تم تفريغه عن طريق الكسر في العظمه النسويه، عظمه الانف، تفريغه بالكامل، وصب الرافين اللي بيحتل الجزء الخلفي من الجمجمه تقريبا بكثافه 8 سم ارتفاع. الايدين في الوضع الاوزيري، الاحشاء الداخليه تم تفريغها من خلال فتحه جراحيه ناحيه الشمال. القلب هو الحاجه الوحيده اللي لسه موجوده من خلال دراسه العمر تقريبا، والعظم بتاع الحوض تقريبا 44 ل 45 سنه. والعظام كلها لما نجمعها مع بعض، خاصه العظام الطويله للايدين والرجلين، هيدينا تقريبا طول الشخص او الرجل ده اثناء الحياه ما بين 160 ل 164
of the person between 160 to 150,
So, I would like
65
on
of
behalf of all of
height.
you, I would like to thank Dr. Gasson and his first team. So, thank you very much. Thank you. الحقيقة دي كانت تجربة لأول
In
مرة.
fact, it was the first time experience to be done on air, and it was the opinion of Dr. Khalid Al-Anani just to make it more distinctive, and thank God the expert of the X-ray have provided us with a very important information about the age of the mummy. It's about 100, or it was of age 40 to 45 years old.
عند المايكات أقوى حاجة وألذ حاجة النهاردة.
The beautiful thing of today, of what been shown, is done on air X-ray before all the media personnel, all the guests,
فريق مصري متخصص
a very disciplined Egyptian team made the X-ray, the scanning,
شخص
by saying that the mummy of male in a very good shape, of height 100 to 165 centimeters,
بعد الوفاة مما لا شك فيه والتفريغ إلى آخره، حشى الأحشاء الداخلية
all the internal testicles was filled in all Ozilian to posture.
العمر ما يقلش عن 40.
The age is ranging from 40 to 45. The bone is complete without any signs of accidents. Broke the nose deliberately to lay down the head for the material of mummification, so that would be of two ways being used by the ancient Egyptians to release from the nose. It's the information we've studied wrongly. The story is totally different, that they broke the skull after the death to pour or to empty it from the nose. Broke the skull. It's a very clear shot. The age from 40 to 45. The status of mummification is more than brilliant. I believe as an antiquist is not 27 family, not 28, 29 cities, I believe. It is at the beginning of the Ptolemaic era or civilization that would make us once more that we are very proud of all these events started here in this spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy with all what was done today. I'd like to add one more information. It's my own information, and I hope that it's right. This mummy is not back to the dynasty number 26, or 27, or 28, or 29, or 30. In fact, the beginning of Ptolemaic periods. The beginning of Ptolemaic periods. That gives me such a great feeling that the adoration of that area that we are digging now did not stop by the dynasty number 26. No, it's 27, 28, 29, 30, and Ptolemaic. The work did not stop yet. We still have a lot to reveal. We still have a lot to announce. We still have a lot to impress the entire world. العمل لم يتوقف أيها السيدات والسادة. العمل لم يتوقف. سنظل نبهر العالم باكتشافاتنا المصرية الخالصة وكل سنة وحضراتكم طيبين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
And some peace be upon you all. Will you please try to approach at the area to have a look, not to enter this place?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the right to walk around the area, but we are not allowed to be inside the coffins. ممكن احنا مش هنشيلهم والله قاعدين
Going to remove them or leave them, just pave the way to take pictures as much as you can, and later on will excuse us. Would have a biggest pictures with Excellency Mr. Minister. A group photo, entrance isn't allowed. Entering this area is not allowed.
افصل المايك خلاص المايكات اوف مع ايه؟ مع دكتور خالد؟ مع مين؟ مع الجثة. ربنا يخليك مع المحافظ ربنا يخليك شرفتنا يا فندم. اتفضل يا فندم.
ينفع ناخد معاها؟
من بره هنا. يا عم ربنا يخليك ليا. اتأخرت ليه يا شريف؟ اتأخرت ليه؟
اتأخرت 10 دقايق أول ما معالي الوزير قال كلمته طبعا.
كنت هنا؟
بس قعدت على الطرف.
قول له